Hi, it's Michael Trigg here again, the Presentation Maestro, and welcome back to this next question in the series Ask Michael. When you send in your questions via Twitter or Facebook with the hashtag Ask Michael, and I do my best to answer them. And this one comes from Christopher with the hashtag @social_prince. And Christopher asks an excellent question. I mean, they've all been excellent so far, but this is a real goodie. When is confidence in a presentation overconfident? Very interesting. It's a fine dividing line. It's a very fine dividing line. But I think when one has nerves, it's a natural thing to have nerves. It means you give a damn about the audience. It means you care about their reaction. And if you didn't give a damn, you wouldn't be nervous. So I think having a few nerves is a useful thing to do. Not when your stomach turns to water and your knees knock and the tongue sticks to the roof of your mouth. That's not much fun at all. We've all got butterflies in here. The trick is getting them flying in formation. And that's one of the things I teach. If you look at most of my videos on my YouTube channel, Presentation Maestro, or read my book, Blow Your Own Horn, etc., etc. But going back to the question, when is confidence overconfident? I don't think it's a thing you can measure terribly. It's more of a feeling we all have inside. But when somebody is a little bit nervous, you can normally pick it up. We've got antennae that allow us to pick that up. And normally our empathy and our sympathy is towards the speaker as he or she is speaking. But when it's overconfident, it just becomes smug. And how do you tell if it's overconfident? Again, it's really rather a feeling inside, which I think you all know. There's a little phrase that probably pops up in your head is, who is that smug bastard up the front? There's something rather off-putting about somebody oozing self-confidence, over self-confidence. And there's a man, I certainly won't mention him on here, but there's somebody I went to see recently who tags himself as one of the best motivational speakers in the world. And I thought, okay, let's go and hear this guy. And he was so over happy with himself that it was positively repellent, to be honest with you. So I think a little bit of humility really helps. And I don't mean apologizing all the way through for what you're saying, not at all. But if you're natural, plus a couple of clicks in terms of energy, and you acknowledge your own humility inside before presenting to others, you can have both confidence and humility at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive. And you're there to serve your audience and offer them something of value or use or inspiration or insight. And if you hold that thought in your head, I mean, thinking of that, when President Kennedy was going to meet Khrushchev for the first time back in the 60s, he was all a Twitter about it. Really was very nervous indeed, and not surprising, because actually when they did meet, Khrushchev wiped the floor with him for the first meeting they had. But his speechwriter said to him, "Mr. President, when you meet the Secretary General of the Soviet Communist Party for the first time, just say this to yourself: I'm glad I'm here, I'm glad you're here, and I know what I know." Just try that for yourself inside for a second. Say to yourself that: I'm glad I'm here, I'm glad you're here, and I know what I know. It has quite a centering effect, I think you'll find, if you do this. And if you do something like that before you present, you're unlikely to come across as overconfident. So that's not an exact answer to this question, because I don't think there is one. But it's the best I can do. It's honest. I hope you found it useful. And I look forward to seeing you on the next Ask Michael. See you then.